This is the Padua Podcast Network.
But I also know there's also natural guys, like the guy who helped me this time. He went to one of those shows, and the natural guy versus other guys who are on stuff. Just, you know, he I think he got fourth that time. So, and it goes to show, I mean, you can still do it without that. So,
Running a Fever, episode 215, an interview with competitive bodybuilder David Hernandez. So, David, what got you interested in bodybuilding? I mean, how did you get started in that? And, you know, there's some like pros that got you interested in it, or it kind of influenced you to get into it?
Yeah, so I mean, everyone, you know, you always see these people on magazines, and you idolize like Arnold and, you know, Jay Cutler and all that.
Is there any bodybuilder more famous than Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yep. So I started off, I was 200 pounds in college, and it was my senior year. Me and my friends were taking a trip to South Padre Island, and in the month, Texas. In the month, we're like, let's get beach body. You can't do it in a month, especially when you're 200 pounds and pretty overweight. But I tried, and that ended up to me going to YouTube, just finding people, finding workouts. I did end up losing like 10 pounds in a month. And even though the change wasn't physically noticeable, I felt better just working out and eating. I still did not know what I was doing, but I felt pretty good when I went to the beach. So it was more of a mental thing at that point. And so I just kept up with it until eventually I found this one YouTuber who was doing a summer shredding thing. His name's Christian Guzman. And yeah, so I was like, okay, we weigh the same. He said he was gonna get to 165. And I was like, okay, if I eat what he eats, train how he trains, I can get there. And he uploads every day. So when he would upload, it would always be a day or 2 days prior. So I was trying to keep up with his weight. And eventually I reached my goal of 165.
You know, I think it's great. When I want to do something, I find someone who's done it well and try to do what they did.
Yeah, it's always great to learn. So he has a whole network of people like that he trusts, and so I just kept taking little things from every person. You know, everyone had a grocery haul, so I would pick their foods, what I liked, and so eventually just molded my own grocery list and my own workouts. So.
And if you'll send me some of those links, I can put them in the show notes too for people so they can check them out. All right, so you're overweight in college, right?
Yes.
And so you start working out. You're now a competitive bodybuilder. I mean, what influenced you to actually go that far to do it?
Well, fast forward 2 years, you know, I'm looking different, and people are like looking up to me and like, why don't you compete? And I'm like, I never even thought about it. You know, I see those guys like, oh man, you know, I couldn't do that.
Right.
And then, you know, it just goes from that mindset. I couldn't until I'll do it. I just sign up. You know, what's the worst that could happen?
You like a challenge?
Yeah, I just signed up. You know, once you put money down on something, and this also happened with the running aspect. I just put money down on something, and then you're kind of just stuck. Like, you have that deadline. And so I've
seen you run at Lake Fayetteville, and that's actually where I record most of my podcasts.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good scenery. I do think a lot when I'm out there. But yeah, so I found the person who had won it 2 years before, reached to him. He sent me a workout plan, and then I was hoping to compete that year, but a lot of things came up that one summer, and so I was like, you know, I'll just try next year. But I kept his workout program, and he was competing. He was doing the same thing. A guy named Michael Wittick in Tulsa, and he uploads like easy to understand playlist of his workouts, and they're all free. And so I was doing that, and I found the guy who won it the year after him, a local guy. And so I was like, hey, can you help me? And he's like, yeah, just give me your number. And he texted me one day. He's like, hey, you want to come work out with us? And you know, just seeing him and other people, just working out with them, I feel like 10 times stronger. And so, you know, they pushed me, And so he was helping me out. He was coaching me through this first competition. So
that made a big difference, having somebody that you can help each other out and motivate each other.
Yep. So it didn't go as planned.
What did it feel like the first time you get up on stage?
Oh man, yeah, it was nerve-wracking. But by this point, which this is probably a segment, this kind of all bleeds together: the running, the wrestling, and the bodybuilding. But at that point, I had already been in front of 6,000 people with my shirts off. So I was just like, okay, it was just like a high school auditorium. So it wasn't too nerve-wracking at that point. So
super. What do you think was the biggest challenge in the early days when you were still transitioning from being overweight to being in the sort of? So what's your body fat like when you're not training or when you're not competing?
Probably around like 15 to 17. Like I get pretty fluffy when I just don't care,
Right.
And it's easy to put on for me. I guess I have a body type. I just can,
And then when you're getting ready for a competition, what does it get down to?
Like probably like 7 to 9, like pretty lean. Like my face gets pretty sunken, and I get veins all throughout my legs, my shoulders, and my chest. Like I get veins. I'm just like, oh no, just one paper cut. And
right. But that's how you have to look, right?
Yep.
For these competitions. So what in getting from, I don't know what your body fat was, but being overweight down to the teens, what was the biggest challenge in doing that?
The biggest challenge is just the calorie deficit that you have to go through. And it's probably also more mental. I know you tried intermittent fasting. For me,
I've tried a lot of things.
yeah, me too. And so I did that for one summer, and I just found that I'm a breakfast person. So if I have a good meal in the beginning, I can just hold off later. So I have a big meal and then snack a little bit and have another big meal. That's how I did it. So it was probably just the in-between parts where you're kind of hungry, but you're like, oh, I need to wait. Or so that's probably the hardest part of it. The mindset of I have to get up and do this becomes I want to get up and do this. So I mean, when I don't work out, my day just doesn't feel complete. Even on rest days, I still try to go play soccer or go for a jog or something.
Yeah, I definitely miss it when I don't work out now.
Yeah, and that's actually, I mean, I don't take as many rest days, but when I do, I find that the day I'm back, I'm just like, okay, I'm back, and I hit it even harder. So yeah, it's just making that switch, I think, would be the hardest part of it.
Yeah, so changing habits and getting used to the new idea. So you're now in sort of local competitions with bodybuilding. What are your ambitions? You're thinking you might want to go to like the big leagues or?
This year's result didn't go as I planned. There was this team that came up from Little Rock and they rocked the show. So the plans now, I'm just kind of taking a break from it. But for a year, I just want to build more muscle because I think that was it. Like these guys have years of muscle building.
Takes a long time.
It does take a long time, and so I just want to like build up for a year, maybe a year and a half. That way, when I cut down again, there'll be more to show. So I think that'll be my ambitions. Just win a couple of local shows, maybe even do a show out of state. That'd be cool. Travel somewhere and do a show there. Just compete against a different area. When I competed here, it was a lot of people I already knew from either everyone. Like I knew from my gym, Fitness for Less, before they closed down. You kind of just already knew who was competing. So it was a good and bad thing because you knew who was competing and you knew what you were up against. But
yeah, they could look at you too and say, you know what, I got to do better than this guy or whatever.
Yeah. But also we all helped each other. I mean, I didn't know some of these people before it, and I made a lot of friends through it. So it's good that you have a network of.
Yeah, you learn more and you get more comfortable.
Yep.
So are you just kind of playing it by ear then and seeing how you do in these?
Yeah, it was good to get the first one out of the way. I now know the whole procedures of getting the bathing suit, getting spray tan. I even did my got my nails polished for the show. So just all these little things I didn't know.
Nail polish, I had no idea.
It was clear nail polish, but yeah, even that.
And then you have to be. You're pretty dark already, but you had to be tanned in order for your definition to show up, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and you can't even shower once you get that tan on. And there was also a lie detector exam that you had to pass.
So this is a regulated league, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that kind of leads into my next question. There's a lot of controversy about steroid use, whether it's really harmful in the long term. And in the bodybuilding world, there are classes that don't have those lie detectors. They don't have testing. The ones with the big, monster guys. So it's obvious, what's going on. What's your take on all that?
Everyone can do what they want to do with their body as long as they know when they're prepared. Mm-hmm. Those competitions, a lot of those guys know what they're risking, but they also know how to, regiment it, watch themselves. I've met some people that have done it, but they try to do as much research too and have some guidance towards that. But I also know there's also natural guys, like the guy who helped me this time. He went to one of those shows, and a natural guy versus other guys who are on stuff. I think he got fourth that time. So, and it goes to show, you can still do it without that. So I think that's kind of my take on it. You just got to be researched and got to know what's at risk.
Right. So do you usually train for size? I know you said you're trying to get bigger this year, but do you usually train for size or strength? I've heard that if you're stronger, then you get a better, better appearance. Is that, so which do you kind of train for? Is it both kind of?
Yeah, I try to go for more the aesthetic part of it, aside from strength. There's some guys that go for strength and they don't look like they work out. So I try to do both. I even try running, which people are like, oh, you can't do that. You can't run. You can't do it all. I'm like, I try to be a very all-around athlete. So.
Yeah, because running, you lose muscle when you're running.
There's some to that. But I've also met other runners, some big, strong runners. So,
I have figured out that I'm not built for running.
Oh yeah.
I have this, kind of stocky build, and it's just, I don't think it works for me.
Okay. Yeah.
But you look like a runner.
Okay, thank you. So whenever I work out, I try to do, sometimes I go heavy. It depends on the week, I have weeks where I try to max out and all that, and then other weeks where I'm just doing more reps and stuff.
I found out, and of course I'm, probably 30 years older than you or something like that, but I found out that, for me, and my recovery time is probably longer, right? So I've gone to I have 4 workouts, but I only do 3 a week. So the next one in line comes up the next week. And having that extra time off really helps me, and I go into the workout and I can push more and all that kind of stuff. So you're going heavy or light. Because sometimes instead of just not working out, you can go light and get the same sort of rest effect. Is that what you think? Or
yeah, I have some deload weeks where I just focus more on going slower and squeeze. So I have it built to a push-pull day. That's a lot of people have it, push-pull, and then legs is its own thing. But even legs, I also divide it, calves, and divide up that leg day, which I do legs twice a day. So by the time I'm rotating, the next body group is already ready, rested. So that's how I go about it.
Okay. Good deal. So what's your diet like? Just summarize. I know it's probably pretty complicated.
Man, no, it's actually not complicated. It's about, people are like, man, how do you eat that every day? It's because I like the foods I eat. So I normally start my days off with 3, 4 eggs, sometimes 2 eggs, and more egg whites, depending on if I need to lose weight.
Total calories.
I'm not tracking calories anymore. Right now that I'm not, I try to shoot for 2,200.
So it's more about how you look and feel?
Okay. Yeah, especially right now that I'm not really preparing for anything other than being in front of people for shows, like wrestling shows. I try not to get too fluffy. But yeah, so I start off my day with eggs, people are like, oh, actually I have a roommate. He's like, I don't know how you eat eggs every day. I get tired of it. I'm like, well, I put chopped onions and chopped peppers in there. And like that to me is delicious.
I've had an episode on eggs and I believe that you could do a whole podcast. Just so there's so many ways that you can eat them. It's amazing. So you do it like an omelet?
Yeah, like omelets. I love omelets. I put a little ham sometimes. I always mix it up. I actually sometimes put honey on, like sugar-free syrup on it. People are like, oh, that's gross. I don't know. I like it. Or, some Mexican Valentina sauce on there. So I start off my morning, and then when I get to work, I already have my bowl and my oatmeal and my weight foods go at work. I'm lucky enough to where I can just put some hot water in it and just eat it. I think you do that too, right?
Yeah, well, I've started preparing it beforehand because I do steel-cut oats.
Okay.
And then I put coconut oil in it and cinnamon, some artificial sweetener, which I don't know. What do you think about artificial sweetener? Good or bad?
I look at the big picture. Artificial sweetener, there's not enough research, I think, long-term research on it. So I think it's okay if it's not added. Yeah. So I think it's okay.
So far, well, I guess we'll find out. So I do that. I make that because it takes a long time to make. I make it ahead of time and then freeze it. But yeah, I eat oatmeal.
Oh, so you do overnight oats?
No. I just make a batch of it, and I put it in containers and put it in the freezer. Okay. And then I cook it normally.
Okay.
Right? So the overnight oats, I actually have not tried that, but
that'd be good. I do some for my mom sometimes just to help her out. It's really delicious. But I heard you say coconut oil.
Yeah.
I like coconut oil. I actually use it for lotion.
Oh, yeah, you can. Yeah, a friend of mine uses it for his baby.
I use it as lotion, hair, and my teeth, and I use it for everything. I love the smell of it, so I'm a big fan of coconut oil.
Yeah, it's good. Really good for you. It's a saturated fat that doesn't have any cholesterol or trans fat in it. So, and all kinds of benefits. I did have a whole episode on that too.
Oh wow. Yeah, everything kind of segments into its own.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how my mornings normally start off at. So and then I get oatmeal. I put a half a scoop of peanut butter, and I do measure that peanut butter out because
use natural or
natural. Yeah, the Jif kind. It's so I do measure that out because peanut butter is one of those things that are very calorie dense, and it's easy. You can't physically like look at a tablespoon and be like, oh, that is a tablespoon. Right. So I do weigh it out, and so I put that, and sometimes I add a little more sugar-free syrup in there and just mix it in. And to me, that's delicious. I used to put protein powder in it, but I like having a protein shake in its own now.
Separately.
Yeah, so it just makes you feel like another meal. But yeah, I used to put it in there and maybe throw some blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, whatever. I alternate between those three too.
Yeah. So much variety in healthy food, and people don't realize, oh, it's terrible healthy food, but there's so much good stuff that you can put in there.
And so for lunch, I also alternate my lunch and dinners, like my meats. Like maybe I'll do chicken breast for 2 weeks. Then I switch to lean ground turkey for 2 weeks. Then I switch to lean ground beef for 2 weeks. So I alternate between those three.
How do you eat your ground meat?
How do I get them?
How do you eat it?
How do I eat it? So the 96.4, I just make it, like I really don't add anything to it.
You put it on a taco or something? Or?
Yeah, I get the frozen veggies and I just mix
it up?
Yeah, so I did buy some low carb tortillas that I'm kind of hooked on those too. So that's how I eat my lean ground beef. And the turkey, people say that they don't like the turkey, it feels kind of rubberish, but to me...
I have turkey tacos several times a week.
Do you get the honeysuckle ones?
Yeah, I think so. Whatever's in, there's only one brand
at Walmart, yeah. So yeah, those are good, I like those. I get some Mrs. Dash seasoning, that's like lower sodium stuff. So I think a lot of bodybuilders use the Mrs. Dash. So that's what I went with, and I like it. They have a lot of flavors, so... Yeah, I get those frozen veggies. To me, it's easy just to pop them in the microwave and just eat them.
And they're actually more nutrient dense,
They
right?
pick them when they're ready,
Yeah.
so they are the freshest then. And that way I don't have to worry about them going bad so that's what I do. And so that'd either be my lunch. Typically what I have for lunch is basically what I'll have for dinner. And I have a weird period where I have to eat around 4-ish because I have wrestling practice around 7-ish, which I can't eat for that because I would throw up if I ate around there. So yeah, I have to eat around 4-ish. And now I've been starting to run like at 5:30. So basically 4 is like my last meal, and then I have to wait till like 10:30 to eat again. So I try to eat some protein before I go to sleep. Keep it satiated, because when you're sleeping, you're not eating. So it's.
But you're rebuilding quite a bit when you're sleeping, right? And that's all when all the growth hormones are coming out.
And I got home like at 10:30. So if I'm lucky, I'm in bed by 10:45 in the sleep. But I knock out. But I do wake up so early. I wake up like at 4:45. So I do take I drink a tea right before bed. It's just to like help me calm down and try. If I'm not getting that much sleep, maybe 6 hours, I try to make it quality sleep. So.
Great. Well,
kind of went off on a tangent there.
Yeah, no, that's okay. But I think we covered everything. So great, and good luck to you in your bodybuilding career. And maybe we'll check in with you later and see how it's going. Thanks for doing it.
Thanks, Michael.